Як кадр є? Добре? Де йому треба стояти, щоб було добре в кадрі? Там, де я стою? Чи так, як ти?
Так подобається.
От. От.
Супер.
Можемо починати, так? Христос Воскрес! Сьогодні у нас чергова лекція в рамках програми політичних наук «Етика-Політика-Економіка». І сьогодні у нас є лекція про поєднання віри, моралі і бізнесу. Нашим доповідачем сьогодні є докторант Литовсько-канадського університету Фемі Одебії. Please, you're welcome to the floor.
Thank you very much. Thank you. It's a great pleasure to be here today, and I think it would be good for me to just give a very brief introduction of myself. I teach in Lithuania at LCC International University. I've been in that position for 10 years, and when I travel and people ask me, where are you from? I tell them, I am from Lithuania, and they tell me, are you the genetically modified Lithuanian? Because you don't look like a Lithuanian. And I say, well, that's right, I don't look like a Lithuanian because I was born in Nigeria. But then I've traveled to many parts of the world, and I've been in Lithuania for 10 years. I have interest in topics that relate to faith, business, what is the connection, what do we have to learn about business from faith, what do we have to learn about faith from business. Those kind of questions do come up in my mind. And today it's my pleasure to talk briefly about faith, morals, and business, how we can combine that together for developmental process in the society. As we look around in our society, I believe we know that there are many problems that need to be solved, there are many things that need to be fixed. And what role can business, faith, and morals play in these instances of bringing development or advancing development in the society that we come from? So, the plan for today is to have a lecture for a very short period of time. I believe at this time of the day, it's closing hours, tomorrow is a holiday. I believe if I stand before you and begin to give lectures for 1 hour, definitely I would sound boring. So my lecture will be for just 10-15 minutes, and after that we're going to look at a documentary that captures the essence of what we are here for today: faith, morals, and business and development in the society. So that's the plan. Yeah, my talk will be very short. I want to define what is morals. I want to define also the integration of faith with business. If I start from the angle of integration of faith with business, I would like to start with a very short story that one of my professors in graduate school told us. He went on a trip to Greece, and he went to a monastery. Okay? On getting to the monastery, one of the monks there asked him, what do you do? And my professor told the monk that, I teach at the university, I'm a professor, and I teach a class that integrates faith with work. And the monk looked at my professor in a very surprising manner and said, really? Is that possible? Can we integrate faith with works? And the monk said again that, if that were possible, I wouldn't be in the monastery. That he came to the monastery because he believed that there's a separation between faith and work. That if you want to go the way of faith, you cannot combine that with work. So my professor had to explain things to the monk that it is possible to do that. And one of the explanations that I have when it comes to faith and business, or faith and work, would be to go back to the book of beginnings. That's going back to the Bible. We've read the story of creation, when God created heaven and earth, when God created man. We know that story very well. Many of us, we've heard that story from the time that we were very little kids. Now, going back to that story, when God created man, what was the first instruction that God gave to man? The first instruction God gave to man was to do what? Take care of the garden. And what is that? Walk. Walk. God told them to take care of the garden, to walk. So walk has been there from the beginning of creation. Walk is not something that is separate from faith. So when we try to separate faith from walk, we're actually making a mistake, because the two are meant to go together. Reading the story of the creation as well, you can see that God is a walker. We were told that he created on the first day, on the second day, he was doing some work. And why did he create man, human beings? From the same story of the creation, we were told that God created man in his own image. And what does that mean? To be in the image of God. Is it that we look like God, have the physical form of God? I would say that's not the case, okay? Man being created in the image of God means that man is created to function like God. God is creative, and that's why man is creative too. We have that nature from God. So that's why in the work that we do, it's an expression of the creativity. It's an expression, it's meant to be an expression of the image that God has created in us, creating us in the image of God. So from that very simple illustration shows that we cannot separate work from faith. The two actually came together from the very beginning that man was created. And now we go on the side of morals. How do we define morals? What is the importance of morals? A simple illustration would be to use a tripod stand. A tripod stand that you put a camera on, 3 legs. If one leg is missing, then it cannot stand. That's the same thing with the social development or development in the society. We need faith, we need morals, we need business. And I believe by the end of this lecture, we should be able to connect the 3 together and see how they can work together and how they support each other. So morals will be standards of behavior, principles of right and wrong. How do we decide what is right? How do we decide what is wrong? And I don't want to get deeply into the philosophy side of things, and that's because I'm not an expert in philosophy. I'm not a philosopher. Okay, so I'm not going to step too much in the territory that I'm not very familiar with. But a very simple definition, as I said, morals will be standards of behavior, principles of right and wrong. Now, how do we determine morals? Why do we need morals? That's one of the questions that we do ask ourselves. What should be our moral standards? Who sets the moral standards? Do we actually need a standard? Can't I just be, the one that defines what my moral is, and I live according to that? And you define what your moral is, and you live according to that. Well, if we do that, things will not work. Okay, things will not work. A simple illustration would be to look at a game of football. Okay, we kick the ball, we know how to kick the ball, we play the ball. Now, if I decide that I'm going to kick the ball the way I like it, and you want to kick the ball the way you like it, I believe it will be a chaotic situation. We need a rule that all of us can abide to. That all of us know before stepping on the field, we know what is expected of us. And when we have that, we can have a game to go. When we have that, we can all enjoy the game. So that's why with morality, it has to be objective, not subjective to what I think is right, what you think it's right. So morality has to be some objectivity in morality, and that's where I believe God comes in to be the object, of focus, and the one that helps us to determine what the standards are. So that's, in a very simple way, how we connect faith with morals. We get our moral standards from the standards set by our faith and set by the law of God and the character of God. We know God to be a God of love, a God of mercy, a God also of justice too. So from the character of God and from the law of God, we can also have a moral standard that is that we can all abide to, and that's what is needed in the society so that we can have what I would call holistic social development. So objectivity in morality, it's important. It's not just something that has to be subjective. And that reminds me of an encounter that I had with a very young lady. One day at the time I was flying back from Washington, D.C., and I had this young lady sit beside me, and we began to have a conversation. It was a flight from Washington, D.C. to Copenhagen. She's from Germany, and she got a flight ticket as a gift from the family to celebrate her graduation from the high school. So she went to visit some family members in Washington, D.C. Equally, I went to the D.C. for a conference, and the conference that I went for involved meeting with some congressmen from the United States. So it was a successful conference, and sharing with this young lady what I went to do in the U.S., she then replied back and said, you know, you met with some congressmen, some of them are from the Republican Party, some of them are from the Democratic Party, and she mentioned that she does not like the Republican Party. Well, I said, well, I'm not a member of the Republican Party, so I have nothing to say about that. And she continued and said, I don't like the Republican Party because they are pro-life. They do not support abortion. She said, that's the reason why she does not like them. And I said, well, for me, that could be the reason why I like them. And she said, no. Why should it be that a woman should not have the right to abort the baby? So we began that conversation back and forth, and then I asked her, what about the right of the unborn baby? If you think about your right, what about the right of the unborn baby? Who is going to protect the right of a baby that is weak, that is powerless? So I said, we need to think about that too. And the reason why I share this story is also because of the standards of moral. When I think just about myself, and I don't think about the other people, then we get into problem. So morality has to be objective, not subjective, not just what I think, but then what I think that would also be beneficial to the other people. So morality and the new horizons of social development, we see and we hear stories in our community of some of the ills of business. We hear stories of how businesses are, corrupt, how businesses are cheating, how businesses are not treating their employees well. Now, how do we fix this? That's one of the questions that we need to ask. But before we ask that question, do we need to fix it? Definitely the answer is yes, because businesses determine the standards of our living. If you go to a country, if you want to know the standards of living of people, how high or how low it is, you look at the way business is done. What is the output of the business? Is the business producing products that are good? Is the business expanding? So businesses has got a lot to do in the society, in promoting development in the society. So we need businesses to act in a moral way. Now, how do we get businesses to act in a moral way? How do we get people to do business in a way that is moral? We have many theories, we have many answers to that, but the answer is very simple. In order for businesses to be moral, we have to look at the basic foundation in the society, which I believe is the family. Everything starts from the family. Everything starts from the family. That's the foundation of society. If the foundation is broken, I believe the society will be broken too. So we need to get back to our roots. Now, we put a lot of focus on everything except of the family. It's time to get back to the family to provide support, strong units in the family, a nurturing place where we can raise up generation that will be moral, generation that will be ethical. Sometimes we start from the school or from the university, to begin to teach people about morality, about ethics and the rest. But, the foundation has been very shaky, and sometimes that can be successful and sometimes that might not be successful. So providing support for families, that families can stay strong, families can live in peace, family can have a safe haven to raise up children. To me, that would be one of the basic fundamentals that can help for a society that is moral. And then we can move to school, reforms in the school. Okay. In some countries, no matter what program you go through, you have to take a module in ethics. Even if you're an engineer or in the medical field, so reforms in the educational sector would also help so that business people going through school to learn to be businessmen, to learn to be managers, can also have a strong foundation in the topic of ethics and moral. That will be very useful. So by the time we have these people in leadership positions, they can be people that know how to choose between what is good and what is bad. So I would say at this stage, I can move to the next stage, which would be, let's have a video screen on a video that is titled The Call of the Entrepreneur. And from that video, some of the things that I've talked about, some of those things will be explained better, some of those things will be fleshed out. In reality, we can see it in practice how combining faith, morals, and business can help to provide for holistic development in the society. So, and there is a guide as well that I'm going to hand out now that will help to understand or to have the right perspective of the questions that are being addressed in the documentary, and as well as questions that we can have for discussion. Some of the questions that we're going to be talking about after watching the documentary will be, what kind of model of engagement and cooperation would we think about between the people in the business field and even the people in the church, like the priest? Because these are two important people in our society. So what kind of cooperation can we have between the two that can help to provide holistic development? So it's the kind of question that we're going to be talking about after the viewing of this video.
Time and effort in ventures that may or may not pay off. They're also controversial. Some people see them as brave, creative pioneers forging ahead to make a better future progress. Some regard them as self-serving capitalists looking to get rich at our expense. Who's right? Is the entrepreneur's work essentially virtuous or vicious? These are not idle questions. In the 20th century, the destinies of entire nations depended in part on how to view the entrepreneur. As long as he can remember, he wanted to work for himself. When he was 26, he leased a small dairy farm. 5 years later, he managed to buy land with a loan from the bank.
Our county extension agent, one man, Jerry Lindquist, first year was in business. He come here, evaluated books, looked at our financial statement, and he looked me right square in the eye and he says, "You're broke. Get out. You cannot possibly make it." And I looked right back at him and I says, "What do we got to do to get this right?" Well, at that point in time, the average road average for this county was like 14 or 15,000 pounds of milk per cow. He says, "Brad, in order for this thing to float, you've got to be over 20,000 pounds of milk per cow." Well, at that particular time, there was only one herd in Osceola County that had that kind of production. By the second year, we was the top producing herd in Osceola County, And by the third year, we was the sixth highest producing herd in the state of Michigan. So, on necessity, you put your butt in the corner, you're surprised what you can achieve.
For over 10 years, the Morgans led the region milk production per cow. But then in 1999, a new problem arose. Milk prices plummeted. They were again in danger of losing their farm. Morgan began looking around for an unexploited resource.
Sometimes the most common resources that we walk over, that we ignore, that we even are perhaps repulsed by, that become the source of wealth, the source of jobs, the source of prosperity.
We always bought our feed here, so we had to find a way to dispose of the manure. It was costing me about $25,000 a year to dispose of the manure. Well, my father and I was talking, and basically I said, Dad, I've done some research on this, and I think we can compost this manure, and I think we can make it a marketable product. So we contacted Michigan State, and they come and did some studies and did all of this, and they told us, yes, we could. And we can probably sell it at $3 a yard. Well, $3 a yard, cost of production is $9 a yard. It just doesn't make a whole lot of sense. They basically told me that it was pretty much unachievable. The value of the product wouldn't be there. That I was a little independent, a little big-headed, a little stubborn. We decided that there was a better market out there. To question developing a new marketplace for a product that hasn't even been developed yet. See, I think people are narrow-minded when they grow on that way.
The moral aspect of entrepreneurship is that it requires certain moral virtues if it's going to happen. It requires persistence. It requires the ability to be patient.
Another trait I think that would be required would be persistence, or what classically would be called perseverance. Being able to take another breath and move on. Faith enables one to do this at the darkest moment, to hold on, hold steady, to go through, to keep going, to believe in your vision enough, and to not fatigue, not to run short. How sad it is, for people to go right to the point and then lose heart.
Most of the equipment was already here now. We obviously had the property, we had the raw feedstocks, we had a tractor, we had skid steer, and we started composting.
We haul in dairy manure and we stockpile it on cement pad, and then come spring we'll take the racetrack straw and mix it together with the dairy manure. It'll actually start heating the pile, so it'll start getting out for us when it's in the pile. And then after that we'll take it and put it into a windrow. A windrow is a long pile that's about 6 feet wide by 4 feet high, about 100 yards long.
For the composting business, I turn compost.
We turn the windrows because the living organisms and then need oxygen. We turn them about once every 3 days.
If every time she turns it, you lose that much steam off that windrow, that's moisture leaving the system. Unless it's replenished, sooner or later that pipe just dries right out. That windrow right there, it's still got plenty of moisture in there. When you can ball it, throw it up there, and it just really breaks up, that's about perfect.
Speeding up this process from what everybody thought would take 2 years, and we're doing it in 60 days.
Along the way, Morgan hired Joe Scrooger, a consultant with expertise in soil biology.
I've never paid somebody so much money to be such a critic. But the one thing that Joe brought to the table is, if you're going to market a product, don't accept the average. You have to create a product that is better than anybody else could do. What Joe would do is he would basically come in, he would test it, he would analyze it, he would scrutinize it, and to the point where he's almost offensive. I'm ready to go. And I'm ready to go. because as I had started watching the process, as we was learning, he was learning. As we was learning, he was challenging us to do more. And consequently, it shows up in the marketplace. We've developed 8 different product lines, and now we're even growing that into probably be 10 or 12 by the end of the season. The Dairy Dew obviously is our base product. We've got that kind of down to a science. The Dairy Dew is basically calf manure, dairy cow, any kind of manure that we can get out of dairy herd or beef herd. We probably take this to a level that nobody else has probably looked at, and we're probably a little more meticulous about it. We can make a very nice compost, and it's a lot more stable than what most people even recognize. If we're going to go through this much time and effort, this much energy to make a product, we have to be the best in the marketplace. It's interesting. That's the thing that's fun. When you can take a raw product that had no value and turn it into a product that has extreme value in the marketplace, from large production agriculture to small production agriculture to homeowner to garden, golf courses, is wide open.
If you want to be an entrepreneur, a successful entrepreneur, what you must do is focus on what other people need, want, desire, and try to serve it better or in a new way, value added in a way nobody else has. So in that sense, an entrepreneur must be observant, must be watching your fellow human beings.
People often describe capitalists as very self-centered and greedy, and certainly there are such beings pushing on to be capitalists, to be greedy and self-centered, and you can do that in any economic sphere. But entrepreneur qua entrepreneur, as entrepreneur, has to be other regard, has to be looking to see what are the needs of the consumer.
Many in the composting business accept government subsidies to collect farm waste and turn it into low-grade compost. Brad Morgan took a different tack. He worked to create a line of high-quality compost tailored to specific farming and gardening needs. That meant risking more capital up front, but in the end, it paid off. After 10 years, the Morgan's business is still expanding. He now partners with other farmers to meet the growing demand for his compost.
Well, our goal when we first started this business, we thought if we could sell $30,000 worth of product, it would be just tickle pink. Our goal for this year, we will over $1 million. That's not a big number, but there's an opportunity there.
And if you think about the way in which media portrays business people, inevitably it is the greedy, rapacious, superficial, literature, magazines.
Even Adam Smith, the great champion of capitalism, was no fan of the businessman. A university professor, he regarded the rising class of tradesmen and merchants as self-serving and greedy.
Even though Adam Smith acknowledged the moral prerequisites of successful capitalism, he at the same time casually denounced capitalists. Never did they assemble except to conspire against the public. And you certainly couldn't depend on their moral qualities to deliver your bread. You had to depend on their self-interest.
Today, many of our religious leaders depict the business class in even harsher terms.
The history of corporate America is the history of huge economic units that uncontrolled will pollute our atmosphere, will move factories from community to community to maximize profit, even though it destroys communities as they leave unemployed behind.
This is what's wrong in our international global economy. that the wealth of the world goes from the poor to the rich. The rich get richer and richer, and the poor get poorer and poorer.
When you listen to your preacher, your minister talk, what you often hear is something like this. I'm exaggerating, of course, but if you have money, you should give to the church and give other good causes in order to justify it. If you actually made the money yourself, there's something faintly dirty about that, a little suspicious about that, as if you couldn't earn a fortune without cheating others, without exploiting others.
Many people look at entrepreneurs and say that fundamentally they must be motivated by greed. Sure, there are greedy entrepreneurs, but there are also greedy lawyers, greedy doctors, and greedy trade unions.
Max Weber had a wonderful line. He said, people who think that the essence of capitalism is greed are in the kindergarten of economic history. That greed is universal.
An entrepreneur is a person who sees things that other people don't, but is also creative with what they see. Someone who can organize things and other people around them so as to achieve the new object that is in mind.
The entrepreneur's success seems inevitable after the fact, but the risks of launching a new enterprise are real.
You know, a lot of people don't realize that for entrepreneurs, they very often, more often than not, place their entire well-being at risk in order to produce something that they don't even know they have a market for yet. They have to be so convinced of their idea that they will, how many entrepreneurs mortgage their homes in order to finance the first beginnings of their enterprise. That's an admirable trait.
4 out of every 7 new enterprises fail. And people lose their shirts, they lose everything they have. What entrepreneurs really do is put what they're at risk behind something new, something different, where they could lose it all, and do it over and over and over again.
Some entrepreneurs help share the risk with new business ventures while also providing immediate capital. These may be the most vilified of all entrepreneurs, the money lenders.
Entrepreneurs often have great ideas. Many entrepreneurs often, however, don't have the necessary capital that they need to be able to make an idea into reality. What banks do is provide entrepreneurs with the capital that they need to turn ideas into reality and to create new money.
Frank Hanna is a successful merchant banker who first learned about business and the value of hard work from his father.
When I was a child, my brother and father and I didn't go hunting and fishing like a lot of kids do with their fathers. We would wake up on Saturday mornings and we'd go to the office with him. And then we'd go around and look at real estate. He would have duplex or something like that. We'd collect rent and we would mow lawns and do maintenance work. And in between, he would teach us about business.
Hanna later pursued a degree in law, but even as a young attorney, he viewed his work through the lens of business.
It's a particular bent, a way of looking at things. I practiced law for 2 years before going into business. And after about 6 months, I had figured out the compensation structure of the law firm, which was top secret. But I went and talked to a young partner one day, and he said, "How do you know all this? You know more about this than I do." So, well, this is a business. It's a law firm, but it's a business. And if I'm going to be in this business, I need to understand it. I need to know how people are compensated, what kind of incentives are within the law firm, how do we bring in business, that sort of thing. I was fascinated with the business. So many people I know who are entrepreneurs, there's a piece of engineer within them. There's a piece of little boy who wants to know, how does this thing work?
He soon put his talent for business to work. Frank and his brother David developed models to analyze and minimize the risk of making various loans. Then they pooled savings of $160,000 for a down payment to borrow a much larger sum of money. A loan they used to purchase a bundle of loans. Borrowers were Their strategy eventually paid off, and they continued making highly leveraged investments, borrowing large sums of money that they would then lend to others. For such financial engineering, the company they founded now manages over $2.7 billion. The economic value of such work may not be obvious.
My daughter spent time with me this summer, working with me, seeing what I do. So she's watching me make calls and speak to people and read material. And we go to lunch after a couple of days, and she said to me, "When do you make the money?" And the fact is, first of all, you don't make the money. Hopefully you create wealth, and money is a representation of some of the wealth that is created. But I thought long and hard about it. What does a capitalist do? A capitalist gathers lots and lots and lots of information. Because generally speaking, the more information you have, the less uncertainty you have about what's going to happen. So you gather a lot of information and you sift through it and you discern it and you spend a lot of time thinking about it. And then at the end of the day, the capitalist makes a decision as to where the capital that he is a steward of, as to where that capital should be employed. If he makes good decisions, then he increases the wealth that is there because the capital gets used like a tool in an effective manner. If he makes bad decisions, he won't be making those decisions for very long because the market will not continue to put capital in his stewardship.
Every small business that started with a loan is an tool connected to people like Frank Hannon. If these money lenders fail to make wise investments, they have to charge far more interest to stay in business. But if they're skillful, they can lower interest rates, enabling countless men and women to launch new enterprises.
A farmer could till a very small plot of land until he saved enough money to buy a tractor. Or he can take an act of faith and hope in the future that he can borrow money to buy a tractor now, and thereby go ahead and start being much more productive today rather than 10 years from now when he saved enough money to buy the first tractor. Now, what makes that possible? Well, in past days, he might be able to go down the road and borrow money from another farmer to buy the tractor, but the fact is that farmer doesn't have enough money to lend to him. And even if he goes to a cooperative, the cooperative is much more limited in how much money they can lend because they don't have enough of a universe to draw from to diversify the risk. What risk? Well, the farmer who borrows to use the tractor, he may not be successful, but it's worth taking a risk on him if we can spread the risk over thousands and thousands of people. And that's what happens here in New York City. Whether it is credit cards, mortgages, or tractors on a farm, we take all of these credit instruments that are used to buy houses or tractors, and we pool millions of them together so that when someone doesn't pay back, no one bears the entire brunt of that. And that process makes the entire extension of credit, the cost of lubrication, it drops it dramatically. And more important, it makes it much more available for many, many more people. And so the farmer, who in the past, it didn't matter how much he was willing to pay for the credit, he could not get it. Today, he can get it. He can walk into the dealership and buy a tractor.
Not everyone sees the work of bankers and investors in such positive light.
There was a famous movie called Wall Street with Michael Douglas, and he portrayed a guy named Gordon Gekko, who acted as if the whole thing was one big slot machine or one big crack table. And it's a zero-sum game.
It's not a question of enough, pal. It's a zero-sum game. Somebody wins, somebody loses. Money itself is lost or made. It's simply transferred from one perception to another. Like magic.
And that might be the most insidious misinterpretation of a market that there is.
The richest 1% of this country owns half our country's wealth, $5 trillion.
1/3 comes from hard work, 2/3 comes from inheritance, interest accumulating for widows and idiot sons. And what I do is to stop the real estate speculation. It's full. You got 90% of the American public out there with little or no net worth. I create nothing. I own.
A zero-sum game is like poker. We all sit down at a table and not only win if someone else loses. That's not the way the market works. That's not the way the wealth of New York City has been built. It didn't all come from someone else. It was created. I might argue that there are two key fundamental principles of all of financial theory and analysis. One is the time value of money, and the other is understanding the benefits of diversification of financial risk.
The risk-sharing entrepreneur can look mundane beside entrepreneurs who invent new technologies, but the risk sharers have played a pivotal role in history.
I would make the argument that but for financial engineering and financial risk management, the United States of America is not what it is today. I'm not sure it ever gets discovered as it got discovered. The thing that allowed more and more ships to come to the United States was insurance. When a ship was set sail from Europe, it was a very, very hazardous undertaking. And very few people, other than royalty, other than Queen Isabella in the case of Columbus, could finance it because the risk that the ship and all of its cargo would go down was so great that no one could afford to bear that risk on their own. What happened in England with Lloyd's of London was that an insurance industry was set up whereby the risk of all of these ships going down was shared in a cooperative fashion. Through financial engineering, there was somebody sitting in a back room getting paid very well because they were analyzing statistic after statistic after statistic of all of the accidents at sea and making calculations as to what those risks were, and then charging insurance premiums to the companies that wanted to sail to the New World. And by spreading that risk, one might think, what is a person in the back room of? What benefit are they to their economy? But that analysis, that engineering that took place, helped the New World be discovered. Because all of a sudden, more and more people taking risk in Europe could sail to the New World without fear of catastrophic loss, because their risk is now shared with everyone else who is sailing to the New World. And thus, that financial engineering emboldened people to take these ventures. And in fact, enabled the New World to be discovered at a pace that never would have happened but for those people in the back room managing risk.
The great economic evil is the belief in a zero-sum economy, that the good fortune of others comes at your own expense. Because then, of course, it justifies any kind of violence against others. It fosters envy rather than celebrating the successes of others. You envy them and you petition to government to restrict and suppress the successful. And all around the world, this led to the greatest horrors and catastrophes, an attack on the successful, the middlemen, the entrepreneurs.
When we demonize the entrepreneur, the creative person, we get a perception. At that point, what we do, and the phrase for it is kill the golden goose. We see the golden eggs that are laid, and we think if we can kill the golden goose, we can get rid of the goose and get inside all the eggs. The fact is, when you kill the golden goose, you kill all the golden eggs too.
These stories better illustrate the tragic effects of vilifying the business class in the story of Jimmy Lai. Born in 1848 in the Guangdong province of southern mainland China, Jimmy Lai was 5 when Mao Zedong's Communist Revolution reached his village. The lost property was stripped away, the family life decimated.
It was a very confused time for a kid. I didn't know what's going on. I was maybe 4. Well, we were unfortunate because our family was rich family. So naturally, when you're rich, you become enemy of the people. When I knew anything, I knew that the adults were very busy, either be sent to labor camp, For instance, my mom only came back to weekend to take care of us. After weekend, she had to go back to labor camp. And at that time, me and my twin sister and my elder sister, only 3 of us were still in Canton in the house. So we were young kids, left with us. We had to cook ourselves, and then on all that, we just had to survive, struggle as a kid. Although, luckily we were kids, we didn't know anything better.
When Jimmy Lai was 9, he was given a job carrying luggage in a railway station in Guangzhou.
When you live in a communist country, surrounded by all the lies, how horrible, how hellish the outside world is. You're scared of the outside world. You don't know what the real fact is outside, where you live. But working in the rail stations gave me the privilege to access people who come from outside. Those guys who come from outside people become an information carrier of the outside world. I can see people how well they dress, how well they speak, and how well they treat us. There was never a treat like this in China, because people who had to work in a railway station carrying the bags are people who are marginal people. It was an experience that was very educational for me. It changes my view of the world. One day I was carrying the baggage for a guy. After he gave me some tips, he fell to his pocket and gave me a bar of chocolate. And the bar of chocolate in my hand, I turned, and I was so hungry, I turned and I bite. And it was just so tasteful. It was amazing. So I turned and I asked him, I said, what's this? It's chocolate. I said, where are you from? He said, Hong Kong. I said, Hong Kong must be happy because I never taste anything like that. So that triggered my determination to go to Hong Kong. And then from that day on, I passed to my mother to allow me to escape.
While millions of people in communist China were starving, Hong Kong was booming. 2 things that distinguished Hong Kong from mainland China during this period were its support for property rights and the rule of law.
Communist China in the 1950s and 60s had a command and control economy in which entrepreneurial decisions and visions and choices were not preserved, were not respected. Hong Kong, on the other hand, had a minimal provision for laws and justice, what some have called governance of benign neglect, which created space for the entrepreneurial visions of millions of people.
The biggest impediment to economic growth is when people feel the threat of confiscation of their gains from wealth-creating activity through either government or other private actors. And so, for example, in the third world, there's a lack of stability from both the government confiscating your wealth and your neighbor confiscating your wealth. So that drives you underground or drives you into very short-term horizon. So we get markets all throughout the world, but they're like bizarre markets, street trading levels and things like that, rather than longer-term investment projects that are wealth-creating.
When no one can rely on the rule of law and the rights of property, pure logic tells you not to invest too much of your time and energy and resources into any property because you have no assurance that any fruit ever comes from that.
The wealthiest places on the planet are those places where the productive capacity of a person is increased, and those places are the places with the least regulation and the least taxation. So it seems to me that's what you want to do internationally, is create societies where there is the least regulation of human creativity. Allow people to do that within sane boundaries where people are not allowed to kill each other, are not allowed to steal from each other, have their disputes settled on the basis of courts and law, but to minimize the actions of bureaucrats and politicians and the state and maximize the creativity of business people.
I think Adam Smith summed it up best when he said that you can move from the lowest form of barbarism to the highest form of opulence, that all you need is peace, easy taxes, and a tolerable administration of justice.
If we stifle the initiative and the creativity of the entrepreneur to a certain point, they'll walk away from the opportunity. They'll move to some other place that has more opportunity because the creative impulse is still there.
The boy, Jim Lai, knew nothing of economic theory, but in the train station in Guangzhou, he tasted freedom for the first time.
I talked to Pastor my mother about allowing me to escape to Hong Kong when I was 11 half. So it took me a year to convince her. She always said that, you know that going to Hong Kong is like you're going to the moon because I would never see you again. She thought that I would never be able to go back and she would never go to Hong Kong or see, and she was very reluctant to allow me to go to Hong Kong. But finally I did, and when I was 12 and a half.
Lai knew a policeman who helped him get a visa to the Macau territory on the southern coast of China. He made the journey that night. Some of the fishermen there were part of a smuggling operation where freedom and profit met.
I was put in the bottom of a fishing trunk, together with like maybe 100, maybe 80, I don't remember. We were crammed together. And after a few hours, they allow us,